Hello, my name is Corey and I would like to welcome you back to the Clater house. This is Vlogmas day 2 and I am very excited to be putting up my Christmas decorations. Y'all already know that this is actually Vlogmas day 3. Now, normally I like to put my Christmas decorations up the weekend after Thanksgiving because, like I said in my last video, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday and I like to give it its own thing. I don't like to rush Christmas in. However, I do like to have all my Christmas decorations and all the lights and stuff up for my birthday, which just so happens to be today. I didn't get it done last weekend, but I'm taking today to put my decorations up. Now for you, it's the weekend after I'm doing this because my birthday is on the 4th. Now I've done the same tree for a couple of years and I normally don't do more than just a tree. However, last year I kind of started adding a few new things, and with this year having new floors and starting to make over the house a little bit and everything, I wanted to kind of start to upgrade my Christmas decor. So this year I do have a couple of garlands that are going up. I have a piece of artwork and all of that, and I'm gonna change the way that I do my tree because while I like the colors of it, I just need to switch it up a little bit. And I saw someone on Instagram post a reel for some DIY like Mercury glass ornaments. I'll insert it here. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but I'll insert it up here. And hers turned out so well. And I love Mercury glass. I have a few ornaments that are kind of like that, but typically Mercury glass ornaments are so expensive and her DIY looked super easy. So I'm excited to try that out, see how these ornaments turn out, and get my house decorated for Christmas. Okay, the supplies for this were pretty simple. It was just your plastic or glass clear ornaments, Krylon looking glass, silver spray paint, metallic gold spray paint, as well as metallic copper spray paint. However, I'm using rose gold because they did not have copper, and rose gold is just a mix of copper and gold. So I'm hoping this is gonna work just the same. And then also you need a spray bottle with half water and half vinegar, as well as a hair dryer. And then I also laid down a moving blanket or like a drop cloth here on my table so I don't get spray paint on my table. And I'm also gonna go ahead and take my rings off as well. Now, the lady whose reel I saw on Instagram said you could use plastic or glass ornaments for this. And while I would prefer glass personally, I do have 3 dogs and one of them loves to get underneath the Christmas tree. So I picked up plastic, plus they were cheaper. So it saved me a little bit on budget, and also I don't have to worry about my little guy cutting up his paws. And I also got 2 different sizes. These are just over 2 inches, and then the big ones are closer to 4 inches. The lady just said you're supposed to start with 2 sprays of this silver looking glass spray. And then kind of swirl it around, I think, and then a couple of squirts of your water and vinegar solution. And then you're supposed to take your hair dryer and dry it completely. That took a little bit to dry. I think I could do a little bit less of the water solution this next time to help that go a little bit quicker. But after the first one, I can definitely see like how this technique is gonna work to make that Mercury glass look. So that's exciting. So next I'm going in with the gold and just doing the same exact thing, and then I'll go in with the copper and do the same exact thing. After the second coat with the gold, that's how it's kind of looking. I can definitely start to see that coming together. And then after the rose gold, which I don't see where that made much of an effect. I definitely think the copper would have been a better option because I think it would be a little bit darker, which is what I would want from this, but it's not super opaque. Like I can still see through it to the other side, and I think I'd prefer it more like, I don't want to see through it. I want to really get that mercury glass effect. So I think I'm going to do the whole thing one more time. This is going to take some time, but I can definitely see the potential of how pretty these are going to end up turning out. While I did 2 sprays of the paint in all of the smaller ornaments, I found that I needed 4, sometimes even 5 in the larger ones. And then for the vinegar mixture, I found that 1 spray in the smaller one and 2 in the larger ones worked the best. And then after swirling it around for a minute, I went in with the hairdryer and dried it until the water inside had no more pigment left before dumping the excess clear water out and finishing drying it completely with the hairdryer. Please make sure you have a window open or are doing this in a well-ventilated area. And although I'm not wearing a respirator, I definitely would recommend it because even with the window open, I could still smell this really strongly. Because I only had 8 of the larger ones compared to 24 of the smaller ones, I did all of the larger ones first. And then when it came to the tops that go in the ornaments, I painted on 2 coats of gold leaf rub and buff for a contrast against the silver of the looking glass spray. Okay, that took much longer than I anticipated. It's now the next day and I have the 8 larger ones done and the smaller ones are on their last coat of paint on the inside. It's just drying. And some things that I learned were definitely let it dry all the way in between coats. I think in the larger ones here, they're kind of like muddy a little bit and like all of the copper and the gold is more at the bottom, whereas the silver is more at the top, and it doesn't have the same effect. And I think that's because I did not let the inside dry all the way before doing my second and third coat of spray paint. So the larger ones are done and I'm gonna go ahead and start doing my tree while the smaller ones are drying. In addition to the larger ones and some of the smaller ones of the mercury glass ones I just made, while I was at Walmart picking up some stuff for our weekend trip coming up, I came across these brown felted velvet ornaments that were a good medium size in between the large mercury glass ornaments and the small mercury glass ornaments. So I got 12 of these. And then I also picked up some ribbon. I got this smaller, like off-white ivory color for like some small ribbons that I'll just tie on the branches. And it's a satin ribbon, so they'll just lay kind of nicely and just drape naturally. And then I also picked up this champagne colored ribbon here that I thought, because I didn't do the dark copper as my third layer in my mercury glass ornaments, and I did rose gold instead, I thought this looked very similar to the color of the rose gold, and I thought it would tie in nicely if you do see that rose gold peek through in any of those ornaments. This is just another way to bring that color in. And I have 3 of these sets, which are kind of like a bronze mercury glass look. So they'll kind of help bring some more of that gold brass color in. And I think that might be all that I use. Then I got a couple of other little things like pine cones and like little bells and stuff that I might incorporate too, but I'm just gonna kind of play it by ear. I don't really have a plan. I wasn't planning to get a whole bunch of new stuff this year, but here we are with a whole brand new tree situation. While there was absolutely nothing wrong with all of the stuff that I already had for my tree, I just felt that the way I've done it in the past turns out a little cluttered and it's a lot going on, and I just kind of wanted to pare it back and go for some more muted colors this year. I also wanted to play more with the size and textures of my ornaments, so that's why I made 2 different sizes of the Mercury glass ones and got the felted ones somewhere in between. As for the ribbon that I bought, I do think I should have bought 1 more roll of both colors. This would have allowed me to give the little trailing pieces some extra length to really get a nice draping, relaxed effect from them. And I did leave the tree a little bit sparse and didn't jam pack it with ornaments, but if I were to add any more, I think a nice like origami paper ornament or even some type of lighter or darker wood ornament would pair really nicely with this tree and fill in some of the sparseness a little bit more. As for my mantle, I took this frame that I found during an antique shop with me a couple of months ago and found a digital print on Etsy that I had printed at Walmart of this older gentleman who kind of reminded me of Santa Claus a little bit. I think updating your artwork like this in frames you already have is a great way to switch up your seasonal decorating for any season. The price of the digital download itself plus the price to print this in a 16 by 20 inch size was only around $15, and it was super easy to do. And then I also went in with some command hooks, which I later had to switch out for actual hooks that I drilled into my mantle to hang this 6-foot garland that I got from McGee & Co. last year. And I added this chain of bells that I picked up from Home Goods back in October, as well as some of the same items that I put in my tree, like this white poinsettia, some of the white ribbon. I added some pine cones, as well as these picks that almost look like some little black juniper berries. All right, the mantle is done, the tree is done. If at any point in time you see my kitchen table reflected in that mirror, no, you absolutely do not. My table is always clean. But it is time to go in and add our final touches. The first being our tree skirt. Now, as I mentioned, my little guy likes to get under the tree. So instead of putting an actual skirt under there with like sequins and beads or glitter or anything, I normally just try to make it comfortable for him. So I have a blanket that is like this black and white buffalo check on like the top side, but on the underside is like this Sherpa teddy bear material that is like super pilled and gross and whatever. It's an old blanket, but I normally just throw this under the tree and like bunch it up as like a skirt with this fleece side facing up to make it comfortable for him to lay on. And it just kind of looks like snow underneath the tree. However, he hasn't gotten under the tree much this year since I put it up, and it's been up for about a week now, so I think is when I started this video. Sorry, it's a little late. But if he continues to not go under the tree, I may look into getting a tree collar for the bottom, because that's what I would prefer. So I'm gonna keep an eye out and see if now that this is in here and not in the living room where we hang out, if he does that or not. But I'm not doing a tree topper because we're hoping to get a new tree next year. I want to wait to get a topper that is the right scale for that. And also just like, I don't mind not having a topper personally, so I'm just not gonna put one up. And then I just have a couple of little touches to tie everything together, and my Christmas decorating will be done for the year.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll talk a cup of kindness yet days of old lang syne. And here's a hand, my trusty friend, and here's a hand of thine. We'll talk a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne. We'll talk a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne.
Decorating is finished. There are a few little things I could go in and add. Like I do have just like a cheapo little garland that I can throw up somewhere. I have the other garland, the one I put on the mantle. I have some leftover ribbon that on some of the pieces of artwork throughout my house, I can go through and like tie a bow on that. And I have a ton of brass candlestick holders. They're my favorite thing to decorate with for the holidays. So I'll definitely start sprinkling some more of those around the house. But that's really it. I know it's not like the most exciting Christmas decorating, but we're still trying to make over the house just like in general and make it ours. So while every year I tell myself that I want to go full out for Christmas, I would rather invest that money in making the space feel more like ours for the whole year. So hopefully next year I can kind of like deck it all out even more. But either way, I'm happy with the way that it turned out. And it may even evolve a little bit more as the season goes on. But I just wanted to get this video out there for you guys because I was hoping to get it out last Saturday in case any of you were looking for some ornament alternatives, doing some stuff on a budget. These ornaments did not turn out the way that I was hoping that they would. And that's more to do with me than like the person who posted on Instagram. Hers turned out beautiful. I think I just tried to rush it, or I don't know. They did not work out for me in the way that I was hoping they were. They're still great. They're still beautiful. Nothing wrong with them. And I was more than happy to use them still. But I think I did like just miss the mark on what I was going for. So if you're gonna try it at home, I would definitely recommend allotting a lot more time for it than you think you need. Because it does take so long to dry, I would let it fully dry in between. And I think that's where a lot of my problems came from, as I was trying to rush it. And then on your little caps on the top, don't rub and buff them. I would just use your same gold, metallic gold spray paint and spray those while you have it out. And instead of using rose gold, which looks all right, I would recommend the dark copper like she originally stated. I think it would just look a lot better and have a lot more depth, and any of the imperfections that I did have, I think would have looked better. It's just the rose gold wasn't super pigmented, so it didn't do much to add depth in that last layer of paint. So that would be my takeaways from the project, but I hope you enjoyed this video and decorating for Christmas with me. I'm sure if you celebrate Christmas, you already have your decorations up, but if not, I hope you follow along and we decorated our homes together. I will see you next week with another vlog. I'm hoping to maybe do a last minute gift guide, maybe even some DIY gift ideas. I'm not sure. It will be centered around gifts one way or another because I dropped the ball this year and I haven't even started my Christmas shopping yet. So if you're in the same boat that I am and you're not subscribed, I hope you'll consider subscribing and coming back for that next week. If you enjoyed decorating for Christmas with me, I hope you'll consider giving this video a thumbs up. And until next time, I'm wishing you all my best.